Hi, my name is TJ. My dad died of overdose on January 1st, 2011, and my mom is a recovering addict. God helped my mom, and now together we are here to help you. Now let's talk recovery. Here's your host, my mom, Susan Sexton-Wood.
Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk Recovery. I am your host, Susan Sexton-Wood. Today, our guest is Sharon Cranfield. Sharon is the founder and the director of the House of Ruth in Connorsville, Indiana. We also have a co-host, and that is Sandra Jones from Kentucky. She does the Unchained Praises on the Kentucky side. But first, we're going to hear from Chris Jones. He goes by Trip, or CJ, as we're going to say, and he is going to be singing Save Me.
Yeah. Listen to the words. Let them touch your heart. Yeah. Yeah. Someone come and save me, dig me up from this hole. God, I need you in my life, I can't walk through this alone. I'm so hurt right now, I can't do it on my own. If I put this needle in me, I might just overdose. I have 4 beautiful kids and they need me the most. I don't wanna die and have to see them as a ghost. What do you want me to do? I will figure out your code. I just wanna be free and have my kids back home. I don't know what to do, I'm so lost and overwhelmed. And I am so scared to go right back to jail. I know you sacrificed yourself for that cross and some nails. I wanna go to heaven, but I headed straight to hell. I'm fighting just to live and it's not the easiest task. I'm tired of nodding out in public looking like trash. I started doing this when I lost my mother and dad. Please God, help me from this addiction at last. All around, ashes falling to the ground. Someone save me, God. I know you're here. Set me free, God. Tattoos on my skin. Don't play with fire, you'll never win. Someone save me. Yeah, yeah. I'm sleeping outside on benches trying to find a way. I'm hoping for the best that I can find better days. I have nowhere to stay, the ground is where I lay. I have to sleep here even if it's in the rain. I know I can't be better cause this is not how I'm raised. And I am so scared for my kids, hoping that they're safe. And I'm missing my family, I'm hoping that they're okay. Even though I am an addict, I'm happy I'm here today. I know that this is hard and I can't beat this on my own. I never know what can happen while walking through these roads. I never have a plan, I just go with the flow. I'm about to explode, put the gun on my head and blow. No, why am I thinking like this? My kids count on me, and my youngest is only 3, he's still my baby. And then I hear a small voice come and talk to me. He said, get ready, here I come, recovery. All around, ashes falling to the ground. Someone save me, God. I know you can hear me. I know you love me, I know you care. On my skin, don't play with fire, you'll never win. Someone save me, yeah. Yeah. Thank you, God, for freeing me at last. I know that it was hard, it is not an easy task. I can see my kids now when I can have a laugh. I know I couldn't do it without you, followed your path. And you are so amazing, thank you for this opportunity. I'm living my life now and it feels brand new to me. Thank you for showing me that you are real and prove to me that anybody can be anything that they want to be. All around, fire's always burning around us. But no matter what, you can always stand back up and be a better you. God's with you no matter what you do. No matter if it's drugs. If you have trouble taking care of your kids, you can always do it. God's always there and he loves you. So no matter what, you'll be saved. Save me. Thank you.
We want to thank Chris for sharing his talent. And so we want to welcome Sharon Cranfield
Hi.
to the show. And Sandy, thanks for coming in and being the co-host. I want to start first with asking you to share your testimony and kind of what led you to do what you do today.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Welcome.
As a teenager, I started dabbling into drugs, and I met my first husband. And I took a path that I should have made a lot of bad choices. But in saying all that, I married um, at 19, and I was pregnant with my first child. And when my first husband, he and I, our house more or less became a party house.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in 8 rehab centers while we were married. And so we had quite a journey through all that. And at that time, I chose Christ, and he did not. And years later, we got divorced. I had 2 children. We were together 17 years. And years later, we were divorced. And as a single mother, I put myself in college and was raising my children. And when my daughter was 16, her father passed away. And during all that time, you know how when you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing anyway, you question God, what is wrong with me? Why do I have to live this way? What's really going on? And I had people in my life that were trying to help me, but I was just so overwhelmed with everything that was going on, I just really didn't listen. So as I became older and was becoming a single parent, and after everything we'd been through, the 8 rehabs and the just everything that goes along with addiction, I had met the man that I'm married to now. We was going to church. So, and I always knew in my heart that I wanted to be married to a minister, because I was raised I'm a preacher's kid.
Yeah.
So, and I felt why for a long time. But I knew in my heart that I wanted to help people. And I'll never forget the place that I was at in our church. And we had a lot of my friends, a lot of high school friends and stuff. We partied and stuff. But it was one of those things that I knew I wanted to live right. And I just felt like I had failed so many times that I just didn't know if God would want me to do anything. But he impressed on me, because people started calling me. I did hair for 38 years. So
Wow.
I'm a hairdresser, so I was a psychologist too. So I used to say, I just didn't get paid good enough for, hair, because you hear everything. So I'd be behind the chair, doing a woman's hair, and she would just be telling me all this stuff, and I just started ministering to people. And then, like I said, in church one night, I was just sitting there, and it was just like the Lord said, you need to help women like I've helped you. And I thought, what in the world can I do? I'm just this ordinary person, doing hair, trying to help people. And I'll never forget the words he spoke to me. He told me to, I don't know if you're familiar with the story in the Bible about Mephibosheth and Lodabar. Mm-hmm. And he told me to go fetch women out of Lodabar and clean them up and bring them to the king's table, and that they would feast and show them a new way of life. And that's what I do. Wow. I fetch women out of Lodabar. I go to places that other people won't go, because Lodabar is a very desolate, barren place. And that's what I tell people, and that's how the House of Ruth came about. I actually thought, because my children had suffered so much, that I thought that at first I knew I would just have an orphanage or something, because my kids, being a mom, I just treasured my kids so much, and I thought, well, I want to help children. And as it turned out, we went to Talking Rock, Georgia, to visit a home, and I fell in love with the women, and it was called Women of Hope, and we model after that home, and that's how the House of Ruth got started.
So how long has the House of Ruth been there?
As of April 15th this year, 8 years.
So what are some things that you started to do to make this come together?
Well, I was actually serving on the Chamber of Commerce about 10 years ago, and I had told a woman that I said, I need a home, I need a house. I said, she worked at Main Source Bank, and she said, well, what do you need? I said, well, I need a house. I need something to start a ministry in. And about a year later, she came up to me after a meeting, and she said, do you still need a house? And I'm like, I had actually forgot about the conversation, and I said, yes, I do. And she said, well, we have a house. It's went up for sheriff's sale, went on the auction. No one wanted it. The windows was boarded up. We literally trapped coons in this house.
Wow.
Yeah, it was tried. It was very trying. And but I told her, I said, yes, I'll take it. And she said, do you think you should look at it? And I said, no, because I knew in my spirit that that's what I'd asked for, and that the Lord would make a way. And we went, and the board that I had at that time, when they went in and looked at it, they said, so are we tearing it down? And I said, no, we're going to build a home here for women, and it started from there.
So you were praying for about a year before you actually got the
Yes.
house to
Yes.
start putting all the other pieces of the ministry together.
Yes, because the Lord had laid it on my heart. I knew I wanted to do something. I just didn't know how, because when you're in baby stages like that, I knew that the Lord had impressed on my heart to do something. I just didn't know exactly, how it was going to get there. And now we're getting ready to open our 4th house.
Right. What do you want to share, kind of what the program is, and because it's been 8 years, how it started, but what it's become?
Yes, it's an 18-month program, and the women come from jail. They come from everywhere, all over. I have them from surrounding counties. The farthest one I've had anyone come was from Mississippi, and they had Googled us and seen it, and we got her a bus fare, and she came up. But it's an 18-month program, and it's faith-based, of course, because I believe that you have to have biblically based. That's just my opinion, that we're a 3-part person, and the body, mind, and spirit, and I believe all 3 components have to be met for complete healing. But 18 months is the length of the program, and it's very structured. We have faith-based curriculum plus evidence-based, and we work with a lot of different community services organizations, and we do intensive outpatient treatment, relapse prevention. They attend NA meetings, AA meetings, and we do go to church. We have Bible studies and any women's conferences, things like that. We actually have a sign language team also that does dramas and skits, and we just keep them very involved, and we work on reuniting the moms with their children. In our transitional living houses now, we have moms and their children living together, reunited. So there's different stages in the program, and when you first go in, you stay in we call it the big house.
Yeah.
And then after you're there 9 months to a year, we really start getting the reunification of the mom and child. And then after a year, they can move into transitional living with their children.
And that's just started this last year is when you've been implementing kids, or a year and a half?
It's been about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. The house next door we actually renovated, and the first mom and her daughter moved in, and it's been ongoing ever since. And downstairs, one of the young girls has her son, and then across the street at the other house, the mom and her son he actually moved in last Friday and started school Monday this week.
So one house has turned into 4.
Yes. We
That's
have
good.
13 women right now, and after this other house that has 5 bedrooms, we should be able to help at least 20 to 22 women.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I know one thing that you do on a yearly basis is you have almost like a prom
Yes.
for the girls.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
It's called the Royal Ball, and we really enjoy it because some of the women has never had a wedding or they've never been to prom or dances. So we have a lot of formals that gets donated to the house, and it's called the Royal Ball, and they dress up just like they were going to a prom or getting married, and we do their hair and makeup, and they're like Cinderella. And they're treated for the night, and it's a catered dinner, and it's open to the public. Anyone that wants to come is allowed to come, and it's just a night it's one of our main fundraisers of the year. Yeah. And it brings, they give their testimonies, and they just look beautiful, and it helps their self-esteem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they have a blast out of it. They can't wait. They're already trying on dresses to see who's going to wear what.
Yeah.
So it's just a fun night. And, we do their fingernails, everything, get them new shoes. And, we take pictures of them. We have portraits, and it's just really a nice evening.
Yeah. I've seen the girls go through that, and
Yeah.
I know that that's big, even, if you haven't had the opportunity to get dressed up and do things like that.
Yes.
Doing it in recovery is the best way to do it anyways.
Absolutely. And it's fun for them.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Any woman likes to look pretty, and it just, they don't even want to take the dresses off. They're like, do we have to, But it's just a great time for them.
Do they get to keep the dress?
Usually they don't.
Okay.
They can if they wanted, but usually they just put them up for the next year, for the next person. But if someone said, can I have this, I definitely would let them. Yeah.
Good. Sandy, do you, listening to what goes on at the House of Ruth, do you have anything to?
Well, as you were telling your story, I was just wondering, how does that make you feel, knowing that just by doing what God said, all of this has come into play?
It's overwhelming sometimes. It really is, because, like I said, I'm probably the least likely to do something like this, because I just thought I would retire doing hair and, raise my kids and be done with it. And it's amazing. It's just amazing. And I think a lot of it goes back to the Lodabar, because when I was in my deepest, darkest time, and I just felt like I was so alone. I can just see Mephibosheth in that hut, and he should have been king, because he was next in line, but God wanted David to be king, and it's one of those things, and you can just imagine Mephibosheth when he's in there, oh my God, here's the soldiers, they came for me, and I'll probably die now, and because you get so down in life sometimes that you just don't understand why things happen the way that they do. And when you're at your lowest point, and then someone comes and says, I'm going to lift you up, and I'm going to take you to the king's table, and clean you up, and you shall feast at my table from now on. And when you do that to someone, and someone has done that to you, there's just something happens. You're forever changed. You just can never be the same. And that's what I do with those women. Because a lot of them, and this being working in recovery, and you've seen this because you were in active addiction also, and you're dirty, and no one cares about you. You burn all your bridges. No one wants you around, and that's a place of Lodabar. And when someone comes up to you and says, I don't care, we're going to help you. We're going to feed you. We're going to clean you up. And, we're going to give you a fresh start in life. Sometimes it's just overwhelming, to those women, because they're not used to that. And, and the way I look at it, they're just another soul. And God loves them as much as he does me. And I offer them hope, not dope.
Right. And with the house, it's a comfortable place.
Yes.
In the beginning stages, how many are in a room? Is it?
At the beginning, there's 4.
Okay.
We have bunk beds. That's the jailhouse room.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them that come from jail, they're in bunks, and they can't wait to get the next room because it's single beds.
Right.
So it's amazing just little things like that we take for granted that we don't even think about, so.
What are some of the success stories that you've had with just when you think of some of the girls that have come through the program and you're seeing more of it with mothers being reunited with their
Yes.
kids because now you've implemented that as a part of the program. But if you can think back, through these 8 years, what are some of the successes that you've seen?
I have one young lady that is reunited with her 2 children. She lives up the street. She just bought her first house, bought a brand new car, and is working, and she's doing great, reunited with her children and her family, have, restructured with her mom, with her dad has passed away, but has done everything, and it just rebuilt her whole life. And then I have a couple young ladies right now that are in college that are on the dean's list. And I mean, these, just because you're in addiction doesn't mean you're not a smart person. And I've always said I have some of the smartest women around in my home, and things that I can't do on the computer. I mean, they're whizzes. I mean, and there's so many things. And I have a couple ladies that are doing the recovery coach training that we were talking about earlier. And we're opening a detox center in Connersville, 44 bed. And a lot of the women in the program have felonies. And they're actually going to be allowed to work in the detox center because of the peer-to-peer. And I just feel like that's the favor of God, because most places, if you have felonies, the first thing they're like, we cannot hire you. You're not going to be able to work here. And I have found that by them doing what they're supposed to be doing, and like I said, the favor of God, they are being hired. I have a couple women that are managers in McDonald's in Connersville, and people says McDonald's, but the pay is very good.
Right.
Very good. So, and then I have another young lady starting in Greensburg in a factory next Monday, and she's getting her daughter back the end of May. So, I mean, there's several success stories.
Yeah. And with the house, they're allowed to go find a job after, is it 3 months?
Yes.
That they're allowed. So the first 3 months, it's
The first
you have
3
to
months,
stay.
yes, it's intense book work. I don't know if you've heard of Teen Challenge, but we do 14 books out of Teen Challenge, and they have to be done before they can actually start actively looking for a job. Okay. So, and then there's 10 required reading books that they have to do, plus they have to do intensive outpatient treatment, and then the relapse prevention, and then they can start looking for, we call it gainful employment.
And they also go through the therapy too with counselors.
Oh,
don't
yes. Yeah, we have a local pastor there, and then they have Meridian, they have counselors and therapists and anything, because we try to meet their needs physically as well as mentally.
Right.
So we get them on insurance and get them into a doctor, and a lot of them have hepatitis C, and we try to get them into, to a well-balanced lifestyle.
So what are some of the things coming up for the House of Ruth? I know you got a fundraiser coming up next month.
Yes, May 26th. We have, it's called Recovery in Action Community Event, and actually from 3rd Street to 5th Street on Summit Avenue is going to be completely blocked off, and we're having a car show. We're having music, inflatables. It's going to be from 11 to 5. It's going to be a total day of just events for the family. There'll be testimonies. They'll be able to tour the houses, meet some of the women, just all kinds of just good family fun.
We have to pray for no rain or no snow.
No rain. That's snow for sure. Hopefully not. But we definitely are praying for no rain, because it's going to be a rain or shine event. It'd be a lot better with no rain.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us are over the snow.
Yes.
But I hear we're supposed to get some this weekend.
Yeah, it won't stay.
So if someone wanted to get into the House of Ruth, What's the process? Do they have to have health insurance, or will you accept them without insurance? What would you tell me if I were to call and say, hey, I have someone that is interested in coming into your home?
Okay, we do not take insurance.
Okay.
I am certified through Indiana Affiliation of Recovery Residences, but I don't accept insurance. It's an application process, and I do not turn people down for not having money. So I've just been very fortunate that God has blessed us in that way.
That's awesome.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
don't. Most people in addiction, full-blown addiction, I've had some recovery places that I've called, said, well, if they have a credit card, well, they don't. So I just usually tell them to come in and fill out an application. The only people that we do not take is violent offenders or anyone that has child molestation charges or anything like that. But as long as it's acquainted with addiction, then I usually will accept them. We do have a waiting list, though, because a lot of people, I have at least 7 to 8 applications waiting right now. So because I am a smaller facility, so it is harder to get in.
You have a lot of people come from prison
Yes.
to your facility too.
Yes, we are actually a Recovery Works provider, and if they have felonies, the Recovery Works will help fund them coming into the program. So that helps offset some of our costs. And then if they don't have a drug charge, they can get food stamps. So some of the women help with, that helps offset some of the cost also.
Right.
So, but it works. I just love working with the women. I do. My offices, we'll talk about it because they all come in and congregate in the office. I don't get a lot of work done.
Right.
Because, I mean, they come in there and that's the best therapy in the world is in my office. And we have some of the best conversations and the best teachings that can be done. Is just spontaneous right there in the office. They're set on the floor. They just gather around, and I love that.
Yeah, I've been there and got to see some of the women grow and the changing and one of them that I'm thinking of is now a recovery coach
Yes.
and definitely doing good and
Yes.
so not only are you seeing what's happening, but the people around the community we're seeing it too, and that's the biggest thing about recovery is to see somebody that is lost and
Yes.
just hopeless, the light coming back into their life, and they start talking about how they're reading the Bible and what they're learning in the Bible and how they enjoy going to church, and
Yeah.
that's always a reminder for me is I don't ever want to forget that part because
Right.
how God saved me and He started changing me. It's really neat to watch that in somebody else's life. So we want to thank the House of Ruth and Sharon for sharing that with us, and thank Sandy for coming in from Kentucky. And so if you're struggling and you need help, we want to encourage you to take the time to reach out for help. Give us a call. You can Facebook us, and you can reach out to the House of Ruth. There are people out there to help you if you want it. And we just encourage you not to give up and to keep fighting because your life is worth something. Thanks for joining us.